Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. In today's episode, we're going to be studying a piece by the career concept artist known as Mr. Jack. And in this episode, we're going to be looking at a piece of fan art from the game HyperLight Drifter. We're also going to explore influences of science fiction as well as fantasy, so let's jump right into it. So at first sight, we're met with an incredibly wide composition here. Our first impression is one of both awe and curiosity as we begin to just take in the sight before us and even wonder what we're witnessing. So one of the first things I notice is kind of three spaces to the work at hand, right? We have, of course, the area next to our subject. We have this massive kind of impact zone, and then we have the left side, much more negative space there. Of course, all of which are incredibly necessary to display the work at hand. And so colors within this canvas largely exist around red and blue, of course, 2/3 of a tetradic color scheme. These are going to be kind of contrasting and fighting for the viewer's attention, but regardless of that, we see a diverse range of tones as well, right? You have, say, a hint of orange, you have a hint of green, and you have a little bit of gold as well, all of which immerse us so well within the work before us. And so our subject, of course, has some red on his cloak, and red is already a very high attention color, so any element or subject that has red on them is going to draw our attention with absolute ease. So that, of course, elevates the visual impact of our subject and draws our eye to that form as well. Another thing I notice is the impact of texture within this work. We see this quite clearly, right? It is very, delicate and wispy, but of course, it also has a style reminiscent of watercolor, right? The work before us is a digital illustration, so we see that kind of watercolor effect, an incredible amount of layering, and even, say, a motion blur that gives a sense of implied motion within the work at hand. And so we ask ourselves, what exactly we're witnessing. So we see this lone subject firing a blaster towards the left side of the canvas here. Our subject is clearly a hero of some kind as he holds a blaster in one hand and a sacred blazing blade in the other. And so the work before us is a piece of fan art. It is about the game HyperLight Drifter, and in this game we play from the perspective of one of the drifters who belongs to a class of collectors seeking lost knowledge and technology. When we look at the role of drifters more broadly, we clearly see themes of exploration and discovery. Our lone subject specifically is looking far within the lands of buried time to find a cure to the disease which plagues him. I think that's incredibly profound here. And those who go out to seek lost knowledge are heroes in their own right. When we find the lost knowledge and the memories of our past, we must ultimately revive and revitalize. And with that in mind, how will you reintegrate the memories of our past? All right, so I got the banner right here. Of course, you can see their original goal was about $30,000, and they made almost $650,000. So there were a ton of people, almost 25,000, that backed this project. And so we see a very dedicated and passionate community. And of course, even so passionate, they'll create an amazing work of fan art such as this. So HyperLight Drifter was created after getting over 20 times the original goal. I think that's just incredibly profound and a true testament to the people who really wanted this game to happen. This is a stunning scene, there is no doubt about that. I actually have one more piece here to give some insights on the style of the game. Of course, we have the work before us here, but I gotta show you the original game, so I'm gonna bring that in real quick and see what we can learn. Alright, so I jumped over here real quick to give some insights on the style of the original game's artwork. And we see this, it's absolutely stunning, right? Pixel art, I think it's incredibly underrated. And so we have a lone subject, likely a drifter, sitting next to the campfire, this kind of crimson forest, some incredible blue and red clashing tones there. The game is of pixel art, and like I said, I think pixel art is incredibly underrated. It has such a relevant place today, especially in these very, high-tech, high-resolution games. So it's really fun to go back and just look at some of the older art styles and especially the revival of those as well. So yeah, this is the style of HyperLight Drifter. It is in the pixel art kind of fantasy sci-fi style. Absolutely stunning. I just want to bring those in real quick to kind of let y'all know that. So yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. Like I said, this is a stunning and profound scene. There is no doubt about that. This work, and of course the game more broadly, can be seen at the intersection of science fiction and fantasy. Sci-fi, of course, because of the blaster, in the realm of space, and then fantasy because of, say, the blazing blade and elements of that as well. So the intersection, science fiction and fantasy, and creates a very memorable and lasting piece in the game that we all love. I actually just bought the game, so I just started it, so it's going to be a blast to play. It's not really my thing. I don't normally play RPGs, but, in looking at this work and looking at that original game, I think it's worth my time. So pretty excited for that. I normally just play, first-person shooters, FPS, things like that. But like I said, I'm really excited to check out this game. So Really hope y'all enjoyed today. We talked about so many different things, the intersection of fantasy and science fiction, the impact of, say, the colors within the composition, how red always draws our attention, everything from, say, the drifters who look for lost knowledge and technology, all the way to the impact of this kind of watercolor texture of the digital illustration. So many different things we hit on today. I truly hope y'all enjoyed. Like I said, this is a piece of fan art, and, I think fan art is incredibly underrated because you have, say, younger artists, for example, who love to create, and even creating a piece of fan art, they're still honing their creative skills. So although this piece was made by someone who is a lot older than someone young creating fan art, it is stunning and profound nonetheless. And like I said, I think fan art is incredibly underrated. So like I said, really hope y'all enjoyed today, and if y'all did, go check out the original artist, Mr. Jack. My name is Apollo, this was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.